welcome to Bending Perspective, a show about our different takes on Avatar the Last Airbender. Today, we are going to cover the episode Sokka's Master, the Beach, and the Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Yes.
Okay, so Sokka's Master is first. What? Oh, I'm Emily. What is Abigail?
I'm Daniel.
I'm Adrian.
Okay, so Sokka's Master, Mom, do you have it?
I do. After the rest of Team Avatar saves the town from destruction by a meteorite, Sokka feels left out as he is the only person in the group unable to bend. He finds a sword master named Piandao to help further his skills as a warrior, forging his own sword out of the meteorite. He and his friends realize just how important he is to their group. Meanwhile, Iroh devises a plan to escape prison and starts bodybuilding in secret.
I don't like that overview.
Not Abigail. Iroh got
Jacked.
yeah. That is probably my favorite scene of the entire No, I'm serious because out of season 3, I don't remember the finale at all, but I remember that scene. I remember the guards walking away and him ripping his clothes off and him doing like pull-ups and pull-ups. Like insane, and also like impossible. I can't do one regular assisted pull-up. Are you kidding?
Well, you kind of get the impression that the entire time he's been in prison, he's either been eating, sleeping, or just pumping it up.
Okay, let's talk about our baby Sokka. I love her so much.
I was so hoping that we would get an episode like this where Sokka gets to show where he shines with the things that he's good at. We've talked about that in our recaps before for seasons. And I loved it because this was something that nobody else in the group would have been successful at.
Oh, no.
And that was just neat.
I love that it starts off with them bending and helping, like, save a natural disaster.
Yes.
And that was awesome bending. And I love the image of just him standing there with Momo on his shoulder, like, okay, well, this is it. But this episode where he's like, no. I'm doing something else. Just kidding. The whole sword training, loved it. Sokka's humility. Okay, can we all say that our Presbyterian hearts were like 8 times bigger?
That was such a good Presbyterian.
He is such a good Presbyterian.
And his thing where I train whoever comes to me that's worthy of being trained. It doesn't matter you're from the Water Tribe. By the way, I knew you were from the Water Tribe all along.
Yes.
I'm not stupid.
Mr. Sokka.
Like, really, could think of a better name.
You should have chosen Lee. There's a million.
But like, just the growth. Now, Sokka's he's had to be knocked down a couple pegs before. So, like, from Omashu to now, we can see he didn't know bullcrap. Straight up, I am not worthy.
Right.
You are better than me. In Omashu, he had to be knocked down a couple pegs.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been knocked
So
down.
the growth, he was knocked down by Suki, too.
Yes.
Oh, not even that long ago.
And then and we again saw that, he had that thing, even in that episode, where he goes back to the Kyoshi Warriors and humbles himself. And so it's so funny because as much as we talk about where Aang and Zuko are these two sides of the same coin and they're fools for each other, but Sokka has what Zuko lacks. Sokka has that. If Sokka were a bender, he could bend lightning, y'all, because he understands how important humility is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I were a bender, I could bend lightning.
Yeah, Sokka's are balanced because there's just so many prideful characters.
There are, yes.
Aang's pride is a little subdued, but you can.
It's also in his teaching. Aang is a prideful man, Airbender.
He is, and he should be.
And he has a right to be. But I think just also it's exaggerated by there being none left. Like, he has a lot of pride in the monks, right? But yeah, you're right. Sokka is humble. And when he kneeled down and said, I am worthy, I said, you have my Presbyterian heart forever.
It was
for the rest of my life.
It was so good. I love Piandao. He's such a good character. And of course, we found out at the end that he's a member of the White Lotus.
Yes.
And so.
Well, let's back up real quick about all the different, training they did and Sokka kind of doing it a weird. They highlighted how Sokka is just so creative.
He's
and
innovative.
Yeah.
He's an innovative thinker.
Yeah.
He doesn't do what's expected.
His little rock garden and him drawing the rainbow.
Yes.
It
was
so cute.
Yes, everything about it highlights. It was an episode that took all of Sokka's quirkiness and comic reliefness that he served through the whole of the series, and turned it into these are Sokka's strengths. And that was just awesome.
And we took him away from the group, and the group realized how much of a leader he actually was.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because
think about it from a Sokka.
So here's my thing, like we can assume, like we know that Aang is continuing to train with Toph and Katara.
Mm-hmm.
And while he's gone, they're like, oh, well, we don't have the schedule, so we don't know. That means Sokka has been the one saying, this is when you're going to train.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how... He's so important. He's a leader. Yeah,
He really
is
is.
a leader.
This is the episode we finally realized, because in the past it's been like, is Aang the leader or Sokka the leader? I mean, I think they just wing it.
Yeah.
And it's here that we realized that, it's Sokka 100%.
Yeah. And then them all missing him just for a day. Like, it just shows that how much he does for every member of the group.
Oh, it was, when we talked about that, when we do our expectations and what we hoped for the characters to have, it's hit every box.
Yeah.
What we wanted in the Sokka
Well, he didn't lead us into battle. But
he will. Because he's still planning the invasion. He's still part of that. It did tick so many boxes about seeing how important he is. And like I said, my goal was I wanted to see him do something that a Bender couldn't do. And this is it. Like, no Bender, with the exception of Zuko, is trained and none of our group could have succeeded in that sort of
No. I love the sword making scene.
Beautiful.
Any form of movie or show, I don't think there's a sword making scene that exists that I do not love.
It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. It's always such a cool scene.
And it's a meteorite sword, so it's pretty badass.
I also love the three of them peeking around the corner at him, but not
Giving him his face.
Yeah.
Also, the end when he gave Toph a meteorite.
Oh, did you see that she made the Nickelodeon signal?
That was so cool.
Sign. Love the sword fight. Was awesome. Very good.
Very well choreographed.
Very well choreographed.
So he was a part of the Fire Nation. Why didn't he just turn them in?
Because first of all,
Is this like White Lotus crap?
This is White Lotus crap, but it's also that Piandao's loyalty is to the art of swordsmanship and not necessarily to the Fire Nation.
This is never mentioned in the series, so I think it's a little safe for me to say. Just stop me if you want to, Emily. But Piandao is kind of a deserter like John.
Okay.
He is a bit more accepted by the Fire Nation because he still teaches them sword fighting. Mm-hmm. But he used to be in the army and he left because he hated killing people. So he went, back to his home and he created a sword fighting school in which he would only accept the best candidates. And that's why they kept him around.
Okay, so did he train Zuko?
Alright, this is never mentioned in the series.
Yes, he trained Zuko.
Yes, he trained Zuko.
The little comic about it is called Sword Bending.
Yeah.
Okay, because we knew Zuko was exceptional. We knew that his ability to I may have to check that out at a later date because I really want to know what motivated him as a firebender to also learn the sword.
Yeah.
I mean, it's paid off for him, no question, but maybe it's because he wasn't as good as Azula. Maybe it was a way for him to succeed.
I have no idea. I'm
just kind of like Sokka, though.
Yeah, but I mean, because I've always wondered why Zuko had the sword ability that he had, because we don't even see Uncle Iroh use weapons.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else about Sokka's master?
Excellent.
A fantastic episode.
Yeah, and he has a really cool sword now.
Very cool.
Love it.
Space sword.
Love it. Oh, real quick, this is funny. When they're shopping in this to cheer Sokka up before he realizes he needs a master, and Aang is wearing a ridiculous armor, and he's like tells Katara he's going to use a wind sword. So via the internet, it is rumored. I mean, this is pretty much everywhere, so I'm sure it's true that
because that's how we
work. So Nickelodeon went to the creators or team at Avatar and said, we want you to put Aang in armor so that we could sell like action figures. And Nickelodeon was like, he's a bald 12-year-old monk that's a vegetarian. He's never going to wear armor. And they're like, no, we need to like sell figures. And that was their response to that, to put Aang in armor. That's what they did. But now I really want a wind sword.
I want to see a wind sword. Is it going to be similar to Zuko's fire daggers? Because those are really cool.
I don't know.
A lot of firebenders do fire daggers.
I know,
but
yeah,
it's interesting.
All right, let's move on. So next we have the beach.
Yeah, whatever. Let's get past it.
Wow.
I was
I've got the overview if you want me to read it.
Well, let me
No, because you have an attitude.
I'm sorry.
Here, yeah, I'll read the beach. Zuko, Azula, May, and Ty Lee are sent on a forced vacation to Ember Island by Fire Lord Ozai. They attempt to behave like typical Fire Nation teenagers, but experience little success. They eventually reveal their inner problems as they discover more about each other. Meanwhile, Aang and friends are attacked by a mysterious assassin with a deadly firebending ability.
Very good, Daniel.
That was excellent, Daniel.
So, Mom, I really thought you were going to like this episode.
It was so cringy.
The cringe was bad.
The cringe factor is very bad.
I have a very strong, I guess,
Cringe response.
empathetic
Radar.
connection and
The
a
cringe
very,
radar.
yeah, my secondhand embarrassment stuff really gets to me, and I couldn't deal with the cringe. I did appreciate the character moments. But I didn't feel like we learned much about. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my bias on the table. We didn't learn anything about Zuko we didn't already know,
Yeah, and that's all you care about.
and I don't really care about.
Yeah,
the
but
stars.
they learned more about Zuko than
Well,
they.
here's an important thing. If this is anyone's character development, a lot of it is actually Azula.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, Azula's
She's
episode.
freaking
We love
crazy.
that. What did we learn?
Oh, is she so crazy? Then why does she show empathy to her brother when she says this
Yes.
place is depressing, let's go away?
Yeah,
There's
that's
a lot of
true.
empathy moments with Azula, which you do not expect.
And also, my mother was scared of me. My own mother thought I was a monster.
Because she did. Because we saw that. We saw
Yeah,
her.
I know we did. That's why she feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
There's-
development here for Azula.
There's not enough room in my heart for me to also hope for redemption for Azula, so don't even try. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I can take on any character that wants a redemption arc, but I just don't think I can handle another one.
So Zuko in the house, remembering being a little kid.
And
We get a picture of him with his dad's hand on his shoulder, which you can't tell me that ain't symbolic of like kind of leading him where he wants to go.
and also holding him down.
Yeah. And then we also have the picture that Daniel spoiled for you earlier, which was Iroh playing with his son on the beach and holding Zuko up as a little baby,
Yeah.
which is pretty precious.
So we had two visions of the fathers in his life, and
Yeah.
they were very, very diametrically opposed.
Yes.
And, we'll talk about it in the next episode, but Zuko is set up, we've seen so much of the duality in Zuko. So many things and symbols in his life are, one or the other. Make a choice. There's two sides of this. There's two parts of this, a red dragon, a blue dragon, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just another one. Zuko has two fathers. Which one is he gonna choose to
Follow.
relate to?
Yeah.
But it was neat to see a little bit of the girls. So the two girls, obviously, they're just as damaged as the rest of them.
Yeah, all these noble kids from the Fire Nation. Oh my lord, they are messed up.
They are.
Like, they should have had a very privileged life. And they
They
did. But the emotional damage there. Whereas you see Katara and Sokka grew up in a very humble home, but never felt unloved.
Nope.
Not for a second.
No, even when Katara is angry at Hakoda, she doesn't.
It's
outright
not.
love her.
Yeah, it's because
Yeah.
there was love that she's sad,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they had each other, and I mean, look at the difference between Sokka and Katara and Zuko and Azula.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
a pretty good parallel of sibling pairs.
Yeah. I'm really glad that we're more a Sokka Katara situation.
Don't touch me.
But yeah. Anything? Oh, so the gang fights the assassin for the first
With the
time.
thing on his forehead.
Real weird, dude.
He's very strange, and I'm not real sure what's going on. Like he's able to throw fire with his brain.
Yeah, welcome to second firebending specialty, because of course they get a second one. He is Combustion Man.
Combustion Man.
Combustion Man. Because we didn't really get a real name for him, so he has a name called Combustion Man.
Okay, so he can just think.
He
fire
thinks
goes
and
up.
explosions happen, not fire.
Explosions.
Yeah, it's
Explosions.
explosions.
So he's like top. He's like the only person that can do it. Maybe we
Well, he's
think.
the only one we've ever met.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aang had some really cool bending getting away from them.
Yes,
But
those cool scenes.
That's about the only thing we got from the
Yeah, it was very weird, and I was very not real sure what was happening. But so this guy's an assassin for hire, and
Yes.
Zuko has hired him because
We saw that he stopped the news about the Avatar being.
Like reaching Ozai, because
Yeah.
he wants to be the one to take down the Avatar.
so he's still trying to do that.
Well, Zuko told him you're good at getting rid of people and keeping secrets.
Right.
Mhm.
He doesn't want
So-
anybody to know.
Yeah.
So he's still trying, baby. He's still trying to protect his place there. He just doesn't understand. Ah, I just want shaking.
Okay, so anything else about the beach? We got backstories for Charlie and May.
Yeah, okay.
They're good backstories.
Thank you. Next.
Okay.
Thank you. Next.
I like that they were trying, or like begging May to have emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
She has plenty of
please.
emotion though.
She does.
Most people that are like that that have that affect, right?
Yeah.
That I don't care about anything are very emotional people.
Okay, let's move on to the Avatar and the Fire Lord. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I understand that you videoed me and my reaction to this.
I did, and it's a great video. I'll show it to you.
So, I have no memory of this episode until I watched it again.
What?
I had no memory
I
of
thought
it.
you loved Roku. I figured
I
somebody
did love Roku.
did Roku
And I had
episode.
no memory of this. I knew what had happened between him and Ozai vaguely, but I forgot
me too.
a lot of the important details there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I love this episode.
Okay, who's doing the summary?
I'll do it.
I can.
Okay.
Okay. Well, lean in. Sorry.
Avatar Aang receives a vision from his predecessor.
It's an after Aang, not after Aang.
Whatever.
After Aang receives a vision from his predecessor.
Predecessor.
Predecessor. Yep.
Predecessor.
Roku and Zuko receive a letter from Iroh. They each learn about the relationship between Avatar Roku and Fire Lord Sozin, their childhood friendship, falling out, and Sozin's eventual betrayal of Roku to his death. Zuko discovers that Roku is his maternal great-grandfather. Iroh explains to Zuko that the legacy of the struggle between Roku and the latter's paternal great-grandfather, Sozin, lives on as a struggle between good and evil within Zuko himself. So let me ask you, was the reaction to
But you have more than one grandfather.
No,
I think that's what it was.
Oh no, it was so good because
I really didn't get
Okay,
tired.
let's talk about that later. Let's talk about Roku and Sozin.
oh, Roku and Sozin, heartbreak.
Maddie is laying down so she can hear the podcast. So I love that they were childhood friends. Their friendship seems so pure. Like they did such a good job in such a short time of showing us like how close they were. Like Roku falling down and Sozin picking the grass and like sprinkling it on him because he was just playing with
My
it.
favorite was when he was packing to leave to become to train for the Avatar, and he just sat there with them talking to him. Like that is something friends do.
And
Like
gave
they're packing
him
to leave.
gave him the artifact
Yeah.
that
Yes.
Prince wears, and we never see Roku in any visions without it.
Without it.
Even after they,
After.
they're disowned, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we get a clearer picture of how it's supposed to work when the Avatar is announced.
yes.
There's crazy. There's an official, you are the Avatar. They didn't say it, but that was his 16th birthday. Like,
Yeah.
He was older. We could tell he was older.
yeah, it was a very official moment, and you saw everyone in the crowd bow.
Yeah.
Like, this
Even the
was
Fire Lord.
even the Fire Lord.
Yes.
Well, he was the prince at the time.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And then he goes off, and he's gone for years, decades, over a decade.
12.
Yeah.
12
Training.
Yeah, and so we saw that he goes to each place.
Yes. So
Um,
all the stuff that Aang missed out on.
I know. Well, to be fair to Aang, he is traveling the world, and he does really go. He went to the northern
I
area.
know.
Okay.
I know. He just had to do it so fast.
Yeah, he has to do it super fast.
We see that he builds friendships in every nation.
Yeah. So in his wedding, if you look out at the crowd, there's different clothing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
there's every nation is represented.
So at that point, you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, this is how it should be. And so we're already primed for something's going to go wrong because we've already had the vision of Roku saying, I failed, I was wrong, right?
Yeah.
So you're wondering what happens. And it's a beautiful switch back and forth between Aang learning Roku's story and Zuko sitting in there, and the imagery of Zuko just sitting in that darkness with the fire around him, reading that scroll, is
Had
just...
me a Moses flashback from Prince of Egypt.
It did. Yeah.
You know
Love
what?
Journey is history on the wall. Yes.
And
My candlelight and
Yeah.
And we can't get lost in the fact that Uncle Iroh organized all this from prison.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, because
I'm not even mad about it. That is all.
That makes sense. No, I'm saying we can't sleep on what I hear is getting done.
Yeah.
He's not just getting swole, he's getting sneaky.
Yeah, but the swole's a big deal.
he's so small.
That's a big deal.
Okay, so yeah, they held our hand a little bit in the beginning about who was talking, Sozin or Roku, but then they just switched, and you could understand it.
Yes.
Okay, so then we see Sozin say, "We need to share our wealth."
Yeah.
That's how he frames it.
Such the classic argument for imperialism.
Argument?
Argument.
What's that argument?
So
I get you.
continue.
You're right, man.
But yeah, it's world building wise, the people that are conducting imperialism usually always see themselves as the good guys, and that's clearly shown here. Is that even though Sozin is obviously a big friend of the Avatar, and the Avatar trusts him to a great deal, and I mean, we know Roku's a good guy. We know his character judgment is probably not too bad. We know that Sozin, all told, is probably not a bad person.
No,
He's
he
just-
seemed like a sweet kid.
It's just it's just his will to conquer other people, and this misguided sense that this will bring them the same prosperity they have.
Right.
And
we framed it as, and now we have an avatar. Because
Yes.
which is really
Which Roku immediately took offense to.
yes, because the avatar doesn't belong to one nation; he belongs to everybody. But,
Yeah.
but obviously, Sozin still looks at it as this is a Fire Nation avatar because he came from the Fire Nation, so he's ours.
Yeah. I also love to think that Roku's avatar guide was Avatar Kyoshi.
Yeah,
it is interesting.
Yeah. I assume that's how it
it
works.
had to be.
Yeah.
And she is not the diplomatic type.
Yeah, so if he sought counsel about this, he was most likely told to
Take
Sozin.
him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Because Kyoshi was very direct, apparently, in dealing with her problems.
Yeah.
From what we know of her, we saw her in dealing with Chin the Conqueror, right?
Yeah.
So Kyoshi
Literally took him away. Like,
yeah, I'm just
removed the problem.
we're not dealing with this.
Physically.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah. So we saw
Isn't dead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, a little bit of forever sleep.
Yes.
So we saw how things went wrong. We saw how Sozin just started making colonies. And was that Boston Say, by the way?
No, it wasn't Boston Say. It was
Okay.
one of the port cities.
Okay. And we saw their confrontation
And Roku's solution was, instead of confronting his childhood friend and stopping it, to retreat to his little island. But then again,
he stopped it.
That's not true. He did stop the colonization. He destroyed the entire Fire Nation colony.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Sozin didn't start doing all that until after he was dead. Sozin did not.
right, and there was part of it, though. Didn't Roku say at one time that he didn't realize what was going on? Like he didn't catch
Yeah,
on?
and he didn't catch on initially that he was establishing colonies.
Right.
Yeah.
But then later he came on and was like, hey, that's a Fire Nation colony.
Yeah. So it's my belief that Roku halted the colonization, and then he.
And then it became Sozin's goal to get him out of the way.
I mean, I don't know goal, but eventually.
I think he was very opportunistic.
Yeah, he saw the
Yeah.
eruption as a chance to get
Yeah.
rid of
So I like that. I'm not going to take credit for this. It's on the internet. So the first thing we see of Roku and Sozin playing around in the same place we see Zuko in that little courtyard. Okay, so they're fighting. Then Roku trips over a tree. Sozin grabs him to save him, and then lets him fall in the end. It's the same thing that happens. He helps him. He catches him when a natural disaster or nature, and then he eventually just lets him die.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really cool parallel between the two.
Okay, I brought this up, and I know you're not going to tell me. Where are the dragons?
Not going to tell you.
They had dragons.
Yeah, there were dragons.
Dragons were apparently common enough that people just rode them around.
Yes.
And I'm sure they weren't super common, because the people that we saw with them were very highly placed.
But we didn't see any normal,
Right.
so you don't know that.
There are no more dragons, or their dragons are not around, or something. But Ozai doesn't have a dragon that we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Zuko's never talked about when I'm, Prince and I get a dragon. Where are the dragons?
I don't know.
They're in a cave so that Merlin can go find them and ask for
Gets
advice.
Is Iroh a dragon? Because he gives wise advice like the dragon in Merlin.
He is an
Iroh's actually Merlin. I know it's confusing, but
Okay,
Okay,
I do find the dragons interesting. I also it was not lost on me, the symbolism of the colors of the dragons.
Yep.
And the dragons that were in Zuko's vision. The red dragon is the good dragon, and the blue dragon is the
Not so good.
not so good dragon.
Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about you have more than one grandfather.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't. I didn't see it coming. And it's so weird because obviously people have more than one grandfather. But
That's not very explored in media, though.
it's not usually, no. And once we have set up this whole thing that Zuko is descended from the Fire Lords, and Aang, of course, is the Avatar, I thought this was all building up to Aang and Zuko are the new expressions of Sozin and Roku, and they're going to have to form a friendship where Sozin and Roku ended one in order to end this war. I thought that was the dynamic and the parallels that we were setting up, okay? And these are great.
But the battle isn't between Zuko and Aang. It's
It's between Zuko and Zuko.
Yeah, it's what they.
And that was just so cool. I was not expecting it. It didn't go. And look, I'm not here to say that I wouldn't have been disappointed if the first thing had come to pass. And it kind of is still. It's still there that Zuko is descendant from the Fire Lord and Aang is the Avatar, and they need to build a bridge together.
Yeah.
But the idea that no, this is all about, and that's why I looked at you at one point. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Zuko's story.
Yeah.
This is he's framed right now as a true protagonist, so we really have two, and that's just really cool.
Yeah, we have two. I'll stand by that. They're just both protagonists.
They really are.
Yeah.
Protagonist.
And that's so rare and almost impossible to pull off. And
Yeah.
they're pulling it off so far.
Especially when one of them isn't in every episode.
But I mean, if you think about it, they've kind of been both framed because we did meet both of them in episode 1. And we've had, and still to this day, Zuko is the only character that has an episode all by himself.
That's true.
So he's always been treated as an
Very
essential part. He's in every finale, and things that he does in every finale are key to how that finale. Yes. So I mean, he is being, but this is where it switched for me in my head, and I was like, this is no longer I'm a fan of Zuko because he's the best secondary character. No, I'm a fan of the protagonist of the story. There just happens to be more than one.
Yeah. Okay, so another theme of this episode was friendships and how
Yeah, that's
They
a
can-
killer line right there.
I love
Some
that.
friendships are so strong they can exceed a lifetime.
transcend lifetimes.
Yes.
And then
so
his
good.
look at
And Toph asking that, and then them. I know it was cheesy, but it was just so well done. Like,
also, I think it was needed. I know it was
Yes.
cheesy, but I think it was needed in that moment.
yeah. Also, I love that the example they used for this was Monkey Gyatso.
Mhm.
Gyatso.
Yeah.
I love that. That's just such a good. That's one of the best just examples we could have used in that situation.
Okay, so I guess we have to go now to the conversation in the jail cell, where Iroh finally speaks to Zuko again,
Yeah.
because he has not spoken to him before.
And he's
From the
visited
jail
several
cell.
times.
And
Yeah.
he's visited him more than once. I think when I originally saw it, I thought of two things. Number one, we know Iroh's not stupid. We know that anything that he says to Zuko in that jail cell is going to get reported back to Azula. So that's why he didn't say anything before. That was one part of it. And the other part was Zuko's got to walk this walk. He's pointed him in the direction, but he knows he has to get there.
I disagree with on that first point.
Yeah, I think that.
I think they know they visit, but I don't think anyone's listening in on it.
Maybe, maybe not. But then he gives
Because if
him-
that was the case, he would not have told him what he told him.
Yeah, and he gives him the coronet.
The artifact.
Oh my gosh, where did he get it?
I don't know. Don't know. So my theory is the fire sages.
I think so too. Because there were
I just think it's the old man Illuminati connections.
That
maybe.
possibly true.
Those are pretty strong.
He may be supposed to say they're not one thing.
He's so swole though. He can like bend the bars, get out, and then bend it back, and then.
Apple's obsessed with his
I'm irritated. He doesn't even have free weights.
There is one free weight.
His body.
So,
Can we also talk about how he said you have more than one grandfather? Scarred face, so
Yes.
unscarred face, Roku. They play with that scar so
But the
much.
irony, they're so, and that's the thing. It's
And
so
I'm also
funny.
like, I mean, okay. I know this sounds very pro Zuko, and I am pro Zuko, but I'm not like Zuko. But I like that the scar, it's like, it's represents the evil Fire Nation, but it's the scar to me represents the evil that was done to Zuko,
Yes.
not the evil that Zuko is.
Well, he talks about it in the finale when he's in the Crystal Caverns with Katara about how he used to think that this marked me as the mark of the disgraced prince.
Yeah.
But now it's just part of him. And he's got to learn how to accept it. He's got to reconcile both sides. He can't, we saw it when he woke up and was cheerful Zuko and we hated him, right?
Yeah.
He can't be one or the other. He has to embrace both.
First of all, you don't use we, all right? Normal, perfectly happy Zuko, everything's just dandy. It's a perfectly fine Zuko.
No, it really isn't. But I think he needs to, he can't just be the grandson of one. He has to be both, but he has to reconcile that and choose which side he's going to follow. But he can't ignore the other one.
Yeah. They played a lot with the half-face shot because earlier in this episode too, he's asking Azula about Sozin, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, make sure they get your good side. Yes. And then it pans to the other side of his face. Yeah, that's just so mean.
Who am I?
Yeah, I can't with her.
I must capture the Avatar.
All right, anything else? Good episode.
Oh, it was so good.
The history building was awesome.
And the imagery. I mean, whoever does their storyboarding and plans what their shots to animate is just a genius.
Yeah.
Because the visuals tell a story on top of
the dialogue.
The dialogue. Yeah, you get so much out of what you see and the way it's framed.
Yeah. All right. I guess favorite time.
I can't remember what it's called.
The Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Yeah, the Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Oh yeah, Mom. Oh, this is so funny. We were watching it. This was my favorite episode to watch with Mom. I did record a video of her when Iroh revealed that he has 2 grandfathers. It's hilarious. I'll show it to y'all. But I loved that she's like, oh, I thought this was going to be an Aang and Zuko episode, but the Avatar and the Fire Lord is Roku and Sozin, like not our Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Yeah. No, I thought it was going to be an Aang Ozai episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not Zuko, because Zuko's not the Fire Lord.
I did too.
Yeah. Yeah, the Avatar and the Fire Lord is my favorite one of this 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Is anybody jumping ship?
Yes.
I am.
All
I'm a big fan of Roku.
Oh, and we discovered that Adam's favorite is the desert from season 2.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay with the desert.
Wow. She picks the most mine's pretty unexpected, but.
Are you not jumping ship? Are you still awakening?
No, I'm staying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a good episode.
I know, it's very good. All right, so the next 3 episodes are, I'm pretty sure, The Runaway, The Puppet Master, and maybe Nightmare and Daydreams.
Yes, that sounds right. And then after that is like Day of Black Sun.
Are you ready to get spooked?
Again?
Yes.
It's time for spookiness.
Oh, good.
It's it'll get your spine.
Yeah,
tingling.
so The Runaway, The Puppet Master, Nightmares and Daydreams in that order, and then it's Day of Black Sun time.
Oh, and we're not going to be able to record again for quite a while because Daniel works every day this weekend.
Yeah, well.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Just quit. So we can watch Avatar.
I don't think you should do that, y'all.
I mean, I would be persuaded to do 6 at a time again, but
yeah, I'm not going to tell you which episode is spooktastic, but one of these is
The Puppet Master, probably just by the title.
horrific.
okay, Mom, closing.
I don't know. What did Daniel say? It's a
There we go.
travesty.
It's a travesty.
How about the way they are making me watch this is a travesty?
Okay, fair enough. All right, bye, y'all.